What was the typical dress during this time period?
I would say jeans
I didn't wear dresses.
and t-shirts. Jeans and t-shirts is what I wore, and tennis shoes. We have our old yearbook here, and it shows like people what they wore. If you want to look at that, what was popular.
So, Steve Martin was popular during the days.
Vests, like they have now. The what do you call them? Well, I don't know.
Windbreaker kind of.
Yeah, like a jacket. This was like a scarf that she had wrapped around, which is, kind of come back to, but it's different. I don't know. He just had I don't know why he was noted. Clogs were the kind of popular, those shoes, and then you rolled your pants up.
Floodwaters.
I guess, yeah.
Well,
and then
bell bottoms would have been maybe like
this was
4 or
early,
5 years.
This was late 70s,
Late
early
70s,
80s, yeah. And then like the hair, like she had her hair curled, kind of back like that. That was popular. And then these, this one had a sweater wrapped around her, and this one had a little bow tie. And we can show you what they wore to like formals, to say like a prom or something. This was to a dance at school.
Most of the skin was covered up.
Yes.
Wow. Kind of like Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
That's cool.
Okay.
Alright, we have a letter here that you wrote.
Okay.
That it says that you just heard about the space shuttle explosion.
So what is it dated?
The 28th of January of 1986. And it's saying how you said that we take many things for granted with all the technology and stuff. How is that present in your guys' life? All the new technology coming up?
Well, when we grew up,
Yeah.
I mean, like we say, when I first lived in my house when I grew up, we had coal heat for our heat. And then about 2 years later, we've got natural gas. So that we had a natural gas furnace. And so that was a big change, because when you have coal in the house, it's dirty, you're tracking around that dust and all that sort of thing. We always had indoor plumbing. Of course, we hear about our parents and their different times when they didn't have any of that, but for us that wasn't too bad. And we had black and white TV forever until, I think I was maybe 8 or so. 6 or 8, maybe around that time, we got a colored TV, and I remember our first remote. And a remote control was actually something that you'd press it and it would actually turn the dial. I don't know if you guys remember the dial for the TV, but when you changed the channels, you had to get up and you had to turn the dial. And the new phones are, what's the term? If you had a smartphone, it was one that had buttons that you could push instead of rotating the dial when you.
Right, and you of course were connected to the wall when you used the phone, and so that would mean that if you were talking to your friends or your boyfriend or something, your parents were nearby and could hear what you were talking about. And they also knew how long you talked on the phone and would say you have to get off the phone so somebody else can call.
Right, and some place, like we lived out in the country, she lived in the city, but I was out in the country, and we had what was called a party line. So there was actually 4 people that shared the same phone line.
4 households.
4 households. And so, you'd pick up the phone to call and somebody else would be on it, and you'd be like, oh, okay. And every once in a while, some people would listen in on you. But then it went down to 3, and then it was finally just 2, and it was a grandma that never used the phone, so it wasn't a big deal. But
just to tell you some technological advances too, my mom used to work for the telephone company, and she was an operator, and she had to take a little plug-in thing, and she'd have like headphones on. She'd have to plug in to different slots to connect people for long distance calls. And so that was interesting. It was kind of fun to watch her at work. And then also I was in computers in college, and so in high school we had, I think it was called a TRS-80 computer, which is really, really old. And then in college we had to type, and it went on a punch card, each line of your computer code. And so then if you dropped your box of cards,
You'd have a stack of
it
cards.
would be
It was
all
huge.
mixed up, and you'd have to try to put it back in order. Yeah, so that was, and then eventually it, it got better and better, and the computers.
Thank you for letting us interview about life in the 1970s and 1980s and how you grew up.
You're welcome.